Alright, what's going on, folks? We're not officially back just yet, but we are definitely working on it. So, I wanted to do just a quick review of the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie. I actually watched it yesterday at the time of the recording. There will be some spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie yet, I advise you not watch this video. Otherwise, let's get into it. Let's start off by my overall thoughts on the movie. I thought it was fantastic. I think it's probably one of the best Dragon Ball Z movies out there, and I say that because it actually tells a really good story, and that's something that Dragon Ball fans have kind of been lacking ever since the original Dragon Ball. Even some parts of Dragon Ball Z is like an actual cohesive story, and we get that with the Dragon Ball Broly movie. It gives us more in-depth characters from, King Vegeta, Goku, and even Broly. Like, Broly is actually a really good character in this movie, and that's something that really, that Dragon Ball kind of lacks nowadays, is good characters, good secondary characters, or not necessarily compelling villains, but villains with a really good backstory. I know we know a lot about Frieza. Frieza's been kind of like the main reoccurring villain that always shows up regardless, because he is a fan favorite. But with Broly, you learn a little bit more about him, and he actually has more character than he did from the original Dragon Ball Z Broly movies. So basically, and again, here's the spoilers. Basically, his story is, it starts off the same way. He gets abandoned on a remote planet because his power level, his latent potential, is extremely high. It's even higher than Vegeta's when he was a baby. But and this is kind of interesting. King Vegeta kind of saw that Broly's latent power would leave him unstable if unchecked. It will leave it unstable, and he wouldn't be able to control himself, and he would pretty much be a danger to everybody. And in a way, he's right. When you watch the movie, you can kind of see Broly steady lose control just because he hasn't been trained properly. He doesn't know how to properly control the immense power that he has and the rage that he has. So you can tell that King Vegeta was actually right about that. So he's been abandoned with his father Paragus. I believe it was 40-something years, about 42, 43 years since they've been on the planet. So they've been on the planet for that long. The events of Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball Super happen. So it's right after the Tournament of Power. Frieza's in space, and they're trying to collect the Dragon Balls for the most ridiculous thing. And I'm not even going to tell you what the thing is, just because it's you have to see it to know what it is, to why Frieza wants the Dragon Balls. But Frieza's after the Dragon Balls, and they're after one Dragon Ball that's in an ice planet or whatever. And while Frieza's looking for the Dragon Ball, he's also recruiting for the Frieza Force, because up to the events of Dragon Ball Super, most of his forces has been decimated either by them quitting or actually Frieza killing them himself. So he's looking for new warriors. Two warriors, or not two warriors, two, I guess, scouts, Jinne and I forget the other person's name, actually run into Broly and Paragus on the abandoned island. Or abandoned planet, sorry. So they actually recruit Broly and Paragus, take them back to Frieza, and Frieza, being Frieza, wants to use them for, or at least use Broly for his immense strength. So at the time they pick up Broly, Frieza gets informed that they have the last Dragon Ball on Earth, and Frieza goes to Earth so he can collect the Dragon Balls and make his wish. On his way to Earth, of course, they run into Goku and Vegeta. They have their little talk, and because Paragus is so mad at King Vegeta because of what happened, he wants to take his revenge on Vegeta. Vegeta, as being Vegeta, he doesn't give two shits about what happened between his father and whatever. But that really doesn't matter. He sends Broly to attack, and I have to say, these fight scenes are some of the best fight scenes in the history of Dragon Ball Z. Now, not Dragon Ball per se, but in Dragon Ball Z, like, it's not just all fast movement and like moving, fast hands and feet and stuff like that. You actually see them fighting, which is something that, again, you miss out in Dragon Ball Z that you got from Dragon Ball, was like actual martial arts and actually characters fighting rather than just fast movement and like flashing lights. You still get that, of course, because it is Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball Super at the end of the day, but it's a lot more tamed. Yet because it's more tamed, it's a lot more exciting to watch, because you can actually tell what's going on the majority of the time. And you see Broly keep up with Vegeta in the Super Saiyan form. We actually get the reveal of Vegeta going into Super Saiyan God mode, not blue, but actual God mode with the red hair and the red eyes that he actually transforms into the manga. if you read the manga. I think it was during the Goku Black arc that you see him actually transform into the red-haired variation of Super Saiyan God. So he turns into Super Saiyan God, and he starts beating Broly's ass. Broly being Broly, of course, he gets more pissed, and he's learning as he's fighting. So the longer the fight goes on, the more he's learning and the more powerful he becomes. Now, this, of course, has him transform into not necessarily a Super Saiyan per se, but I want to say it's almost the equivalent of like a false Super Saiyan that Goku did in the Lord Slug movie. He powers up enough to be able to go toe-to-toe with Vegeta in his God form, even overpowering him to a certain point. Goku, seeing this, of course, he jumps in and he starts fighting him in his base form. He transforms into Super Saiyan. They start duking it out. He also goes into God form. And what's cool about Goku in his God form is he actually learns some new techniques. There's a technique that he uses against Broly that leaves him in this paralysis state. And I don't think it's ever been seen before. I don't know about the manga. He might have used it in the manga. I didn't really read the entire thing. But he uses this like stance, and it just locks Broly in God energy. It's actually really cool. And it just learns that Goku, while he's kind of the idiot of the series, he's a genius when it comes to fighting, and he can always make up these new techniques and stuff like that. Regardless, he traps Broly for a minute, and he kind of goes all Naruto on him, start talking about how he's not a bad person, how he can tell he's not necessarily a villain, how they've had their fair share of villains, and for a moment, you can see that happening. It's kind of one of the cool things about Broly's whole backstory, is that you can tell Broly's just not necessarily all a deranged, egotistical maniac bent on revenge. Clearly, just by the way he was raised, that's just how he is. But he doesn't want to be that, and I'm not going to spoil all of his backstory. It's not like super amazing backstory, but it's actually enough for him to have like an in-depth character. But anyway, that obviously doesn't end up working. So Broly just overpowers Goku in his God form, and then this is where you see the transformation into Super Saiyan Blue. They start duking it out. It's a really good fight, but of course, the longer the fight goes on, Broly's still getting stronger. That's just his character. He's getting stronger and more angry the more the fight goes on. And so the fight goes on between Goku and Broly. Something happens. I'm not going to tell you exactly what happens. Something happens, and then Broly just explodes with power. This is where he actually starts to take on the legendary Super Saiyan form. Now, I don't think it's called the legendary Super Saiyan form in this one. I think it's just more related to the Trunks angry Super Saiyan, more or less. But you see him transform into the legendary Super Saiyan form that we all know from the original Broly. So he gets that transformation, and then this is where you see him just kind of overpower Goku. Like, he's just beating Goku's ass in his blue form. Vegeta even tries to jump in and help out. They both transform into their blue forms. They're both duking it out with Broly. Really good fight scene, nice choreography, nice animation and stuff like that. That was one thing I was actually worried about because I saw some of the trailers, and it had like the weird CGI during the fight scenes. But honestly, that only happens in like maybe like 3 or 4 scenes, and it's very quick. So I wonder why they even did the transition to the CGI. But anyway, like, the fight's really good between those two. They, of course, get overpowered. And this is where we see the introduction of Gogeta. Piccolo makes a small appearance. Goku instant transmissions over to Piccolo so they can learn, or they can teach Vegeta how to do the fusion dance. They do some things that are callbacks to the Majin Buu saga, if you watch that. And then they actually transform into Gogeta. And Gogeta, as you expect, it's funny because, like, while Gogeta wasn't much of a shit talker in the Janemba movie, because there was only like a few scenes that we've seen him in, like, he still has that cockiness that you get from like Trunks and Goten transforming into Gogeta. So I wonder if that's just like a personality trait where it's a little bit more cocky in the fusion form, or is just because it's just how they are. But you get a little some dialogue from Gogeta. Then he instant transmission over to Broly. He starts fighting Broly in his base form. Then he transforms into a Super Saiyan form, and then some weird thing happens during the fight to where it's like in this weird dimensional rift between Broly and Gogeta. And then Gogeta, of course, takes this Super Saiyan Blue form, and once he takes this Super Saiyan Blue form, it feels like it's a one-sided show. You can still see Broly get more powerful, but it's coming to a point where I guess kind of like how Kale was. He couldn't control his own power, and it was slowly killing him in a way. So, or was it Kale? It's Kale, yeah. How like Kale was when she transformed into like the legendary Super Saiyan Rage form. She was very powerful and she could withstand hits, but at the same time, she lost all consciousness of what she was. So it was just kind of like slowly killing her. Same thing here with Broly. You can see that happening throughout the fight. But the ending to this is not what you expect. And I'm not going to spoil the ending. Simply because I don't want to spoil the entire thing. I already did some spoilers, but I don't want to spoil the entire thing for those who are going to watch the movie. But I think this is probably one of the best endings that Dragon Ball has had in its movies. I think it's really cool, and it sets up things for the future because it's already been confirmed that Dragon Ball Super is coming back with a new arc. With the very powerful villain, of course, and the way that they ended Dragon Ball Super Broly, or Dragon Ball Broly, however you want to say the movie, I think it really sets up the stage for the future of Dragon Ball Super, so I'm really looking forward to that. Overall, I know that Dragon Ball Super Broly, or whatever the movie you want to title it, it's a very good movie and definitely worth watching if you're a fan of Dragon Ball. If you haven't seen it yet, I urge you, while it's still in theaters, go see it. This is one of the movies I'm going to probably pick up on Blu-ray, to be honest, because I enjoyed it that much, and I felt like it's one of the best Dragon Ball movies out there, so definitely do yourself a great service and go pick it up. So, yeah, that's my review of the Dragon Ball Super movie. Again, sorry for the spoilers if you haven't seen it, but I did warn you at the beginning of the video. If you guys enjoyed the video, please leave a like, comment if you've seen the video. What did you think? What was your best part of the movie? I'm going to let the rest of these fights play out in FighterZ. So hopefully we'll be back with some more regular content next couple of days. I'll do one more update video after this video to kind of give you the full situation of everything. It's all good news. So just look forward to that, and I will see you guys hopefully soon.
Not going anywhere. Spearball. I saw that coming. I'm saving this one. Show you all you got. Look. Not going anywhere. Whew. Looks like I won after all. Are you ready?
Low ranker, elite, whatever. You can be anyone. It's called hard work.